Marcus, I've been lying to you for 6 months, and if I don't tell you the truth right now, we're getting divorced in the morning. Zoe Camden pulled the printed divorce papers from her purse and slammed them on the kitchen table next to an antique hand mirror she'd stolen from her therapist's office 20 minutes ago. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Their kids were asleep. Marcus was about to discover something that would either save their marriage or end it in the next 28 minutes. What the hell? You stole Dr. Martinez's mirror? I figured out why we're getting divorced, and it's not what we think. Zoe's hands were shaking. We're not incompatible. We have communication cancer, and I just discovered the cure. Marcus stared at his wife like she'd lost her mind. Zoe, it's almost midnight. You're talking about cancer, and you've apparently become a therapist-robbing criminal. What is happening? Tell me what I just said, word for word. Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. His face went pale. Honestly, I have no clue. I stopped listening after you mentioned the mirror thing because I was trying to figure out if stealing from your therapist is a felony. 12 years of marriage, and you just proved my point. Zoe placed the mirror between them. Here's my confession. I haven't actually heard your voice in 6 months. I've been fake listening while planning my responses, and you've been doing the same thing to me. The kitchen fell silent except for the hum of their dying marriage. This mirror technique is simple. Before either of us can speak, we reflect back what we heard to the other person's satisfaction. If we can do this for 28 minutes straight, maybe we don't sign these papers. And if we can't, then we're roommates pretending to be married, and our kids deserve better. 5 minutes in, their first attempt was catastrophic. Marcus, I feel invisible in this marriage. You come home, grunt responses, and disappear into your phone. Marcus looked at the mirror. What I'm hearing is that you think I don't pay attention and you feel lonely. No, that's not what I said at all. This is impossible. Marcus, what I'm hearing is that you think this exercise is too difficult and you want to give up. He stopped mid-protest. That's exactly what I meant. How did you... Because I actually listened to your words instead of preparing my rebuttal. Something clicked. Marcus tried again. What I'm hearing is that you feel invisible in our marriage because I come home, respond without engagement, and check out mentally with my phone, making you feel married to a stranger. Zoe started crying. Perfect. For the first time in months, I feel heard, but their breakthrough was about to be shattered. My turn, Marcus said, his voice trembling. Zoe, I've been having an emotional affair. The words detonated in their kitchen like a bomb. Zoe's face went white. What? Not physical. But there's a woman at work, Jennifer from accounting, and for 4 months I've been sharing things with her that I should be sharing with you, because she listens. Every instinct screamed for Zoe to throw the divorce papers in his face. Instead, she looked at the mirror, her reflection showing a woman whose world was cracking open. What I'm hearing is that you've been sharing intimate conversations with a co-worker named Jennifer for 4 months because you feel unheard at home, and you consider this emotional infidelity. So yes, and I'm telling you because if we're going to save this marriage, we need complete honesty. Do you love her? Zoe's voice was barely a whisper. No. But I love how she makes me feel heard, and that terrifies me. What I'm hearing is that you don't have romantic feelings for Jennifer, but you're in love with the experience of feeling understood, and that scares you because it shows you what's missing here. Exactly, I don't want Jennifer. I want you to listen to me the way she does. Through her tears, Zoe realized something profound. I figured out the formula that's killing us. For every minute you spend explaining feelings, I spend 3 minutes formulating responses. The ratio is 1.3, perfect formula for disconnection. So while I'm sharing my heart, you're writing your rebuttal. Worse, I'm judging whether your feelings are valid. You're not married to someone who hears you, you're married to a debate coach. Marcus laughed despite everything. That explains why every conversation feels like cross-examination. The new equation has to be understanding plus reflection, connection. With minutes left on their timer, Zoe asked the ultimate question, not out of obligation, but because you actually want to build a life with who I really am. Marcus looked at the mirror, then at his wife, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in years. What I'm hearing is that you're asking if I want to be married to the real you, not just staying together out of duty, but because I genuinely want to create a future with who you actually are. Choices? Zoe, I don't just want to stay married to you. I want to fall in love with you again, but I need you to hear me, not just wait for your turn to solve me. When the timer went off, they sat in silence, both crying, both changed. So what now? Sassen, Marcus whispered. Now I return Dr. Martinez's mirror and tell her that her patient just committed grand theft therapy for a good cause. Marcus laughed, the first real laugh they'd shared in months. What about Jennifer? I end it. Tomorrow. Not because you're making me, but because I want to have those conversations with you instead. Marcus moved the divorce papers to the trash can, but their transformation was just beginning. What happened next would shock them both. Day 2. River asked why they were talking weird now. When Zoe explained they were learning to really hear each other, he said, "Can you teach me? My teacher never understands what I'm trying to say about math." Day 3. Iris used the technique with a friend conflict. I said back what Emma told me about feeling left out, and she stopped crying. It's like magic. Day 4. Marcus ended the relationship with Jennifer. I told her I needed to focus on my marriage. She understood, but it was harder than I expected, not because I have feelings for her, but because admitting the affair made it real. Day 5. Zoe tested the technique with her most difficult client and closed a $400,000 deal. When I reflected his concerns instead of immediately pitching solutions, he said it was the first time a consultant had actually understood his business. But then something unexpected happened that would change everything again. 3 weeks later, at River's parent-teacher conference, other parents noticed the Camdens were different. You two actually listened to each other instead of just waiting for your turn to speak, observed Kim Rodriguez. Can you teach us? Within days, parents were experimenting with the method. Success stories flooded in, but so did something else, failures. It didn't work, texted one parent. My husband refused to try it. We tried but kept forgetting and falling back into old patterns, wrote another. Zoe realized they'd discovered something powerful but also fragile. The technique required 2 willing participants and constant practice, but then came the breakthrough that would make their story go viral. During a heated PTA meeting about budget cuts, chaos erupted. Parents were shouting over each other. The Oisai principal looked overwhelmed, and nothing was getting resolved. Zoe stood up. Can I try something? She pulled out her phone, set a timer for 5 minutes, and placed it in the center of the room like a makeshift mirror. Before anyone responds to what someone else says, they have to reflect back what they heard to that person's satisfaction. Let's see what happens. So that's ridiculous, someone shouted. What I'm hearing, Zoe replied calmly, is that you think this technique sounds ineffective for our current situation. The shouter paused. Well, yeah, exactly. Thank you for confirming. I heard you correctly. Now, what's your main concern about the budget cuts? What happened next was extraordinary. One by one, parents began using the reflection technique. The shouting stopped. Real issues emerged. Solutions developed organically. The meeting that was supposed to end in chaos concluded with a unanimous budget plan and a request for Zoe to teach the technique to the entire school district. We accidentally created something bigger than our marriage, Marcus told Zoe that night. We discovered how to save human communication. 6 months later, their story took another shocking turn. A video of the PTA meeting had been secretly recorded and posted online. The clip of Zoe transforming chaos into collaboration went viral, reaching 2 million views in a week. Comments poured in. "I tried this with my teenage daughter. We had our first real conversation in years. Used this technique at work during a project crisis. Saved us $50,000 in miscommunication costs. My marriage was ending. This video saved it." When what I'm hearing is that you're feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of being seen as experts when you still feel like you're learning, and you're worried about disappointing people who trust our advice. Exactly. And there's something else. Zoe's voice dropped to a whisper. Dr. Martinez called. She wants her mirror back, and she's threatening to report the theft unless we pay for consultation fees for using her technique. The irony was perfect. Their salvation was built on stolen property, and now it might destroy them. What do we do? Now Marcus asked. We tell the truth. Again. The next day, Zoe posted a video titled, "I stole the mirror that saved my marriage, and here's what happened next." She confessed everything. The theft, the therapist's demands, their fears about being frauds. But instead of destroying their credibility, the honesty made them more relatable. "This is real life," she said in the video. Messy, imperfect, complicated. The mirror technique works, but it's not magic. It requires courage, honesty, and constant practice. The response was overwhelming. Dr. Martinez dropped her demands after being flooded with requests for the original mirror technique. Their story became a case study in authentic viral content. 1 year later, standing in their kitchen where the returned mirror sits at the table's center, slightly tarnished from use, Zoe watched Marcus help River with homework while Iris practiced violin. Their home wasn't perfect. They still disagreed, still had bad days, still occasionally forgot to listen first. But they had something more valuable than perfection. They had tools, honesty, and the courage to keep choosing each other. "Mom," Iris said during dinner, "Mrs. Chen says her parents fight all the time. Can we teach them the mirror thing? What do you think we should do?" "I think we should help if they want help, but not force it. Like you taught me, we can show people how to listen, but we can't make them want to hear." The wisdom of their 12-year-old captured everything. Transformation happens when people are ready, not when others think they should be. As they reflected on their journey, Marcus asked, "What if you hadn't had the courage to steal that mirror and confess everything? What if we just kept pretending? Yeah, we'd be divorced, wondering what went wrong, never knowing we were one honest conversation away from the deepest connection we'd ever experienced. And what if I hadn't confessed about Jennifer? We'd still be together, but I'd be married to a lie. The truth almost broke us, but it also saved us." Right now, someone reading this story is facing the same choice Zoe faced that Tuesday night. Stay safe in comfortable lies or risk everything for authentic connection. The technique is simple. Place any object between you and someone important. Before responding to anything they say, reflect back what you heard to their satisfaction. But here's the crucial part. Start with complete honesty about what's not working. Most relationships don't die from lack of love. They die from lack of courage to be completely honest and genuinely heard. The solution requires both vulnerability and skill. Truth plus reflection. Transformation. The Camdens discovered that extraordinary connection doesn't require perfect people. It requires brave people willing to risk everything for the chance to be genuinely known. The mirror sits at their table's center, catching light and reflecting love, a daily reminder that the greatest conversations don't happen when everyone talks. They happen when someone finally has the courage to listen to the truth. In a world of competing voices and hidden truths, they learn to create space where honesty is safe. Every voice matters, and every heart can risk being fully known. This is how one stolen mirror, 28 minutes of radical honesty, and the courage to reflect before responding, saved a marriage, transformed a family, and accidentally launched a revolution in authentic human connection.